It's been almost exactly 12 weeks since Mokaev survived the famous knee bar and submitted Filio via rear naked choke. When I originally reacted to this fight, I'll be honest with you, I was very skeptical about whether he was going to be able to return without surgery. But in the last 12 weeks, I've been following Mokaev's journey pretty closely. And I have to say, this guy's incredible. And I'll be honest, my skepticism only grew whenever he tweeted out that in 6 to 8 weeks he would be back to training, and that he only sustained a grade 2 MCL sprain. Now I go into why I thought there was more to this injury in the original reaction video. We saw a lot of intracapsular swelling, which we would expect to see with injured structures like the ACL, the PCL, meniscus, or maybe a tibial plateau fracture. But not an MCL injury, which is an extracapsular structure. But on March 29th, he tweeted out footage of him putting on a clinic, clearly being able to move around and clearly not having had surgery. So then I was like, all right, my man is definitely going the non-surgical route. But he still wasn't putting a significant amount of weight through that leg in the photo. So he continues to be pretty active on Twitter, being the Mokaev we all have come to know and love, calling people out left and right. And then we see more training footage emerge on April 20th. So he's doing a bag workout, but you can tell he's not quite shifting his weight fully onto that left leg. And even with the bags, you can tell that his effort level with his upper body is high, but that he's being really cautious about how much lateral movement or twisting he's doing on that lead leg. And on that same day, he posted a series of mainly upper body exercises. But I want you to notice that he's still really restricting his movement to only the sagittal plane, meaning that all of his movements are going either forward or backward and not side to side or rotating, likely because the MCL is much more challenged in those positions. The next training footage we see is on May 4th with him striking a dummy. He's clearly able to do some pivoting on that left leg, and we can see him shifting his weight decently well while he's driving down into the dummy. But there's one thing that I noticed here. When he drops down on his right leg, look at the amount of flexion he's able to achieve when he puts his body weight down on it. Throughout the rest of the video, we don't see him achieving that same amount of flexion on the left leg with his body weight down into flexion. So my suspicion was that his knee flexion was still limited under load, which would make a lot of sense during this point in his rehab. And my suspicion was confirmed when 2 days later on May 6th, he posted a clip of his physical therapy session. Here he's doing a backward lunge into a marching position with his left injured leg planted on the ground. The band is intended to resist terminal knee extension at the top of the movement. The next is a gravity eliminated squat, even though there is some resistance that's offered by the bands. But if you look closely, you can tell that especially compared to his opposite leg, he's not reaching full extension when he locks out the movement. Reaching this in-range extension is absolutely essential during this stage of the rehab, which is probably why they're working so hard to restore it. And the next is just a bodyweight squat, probably focusing on keeping his weight evenly distributed between both legs. Again, noticing the lack of the full depth here. Then on May 9th, he posts another clip of his PT session. This time he's working on single leg stability while going into a partial squatting position, while reaching with his other leg to touch slightly forward and backwards. This exercise is made to challenge his single leg stability with his knee slightly flexed. But I will say again that when it comes to his stability work, he seems to only be working in that sagittal plane. So no lateral or rotational stability movements yet. On June 2nd, we see a kneeling striking workout with the dummy, and we're at about 11 weeks out at this point. He's tolerating his body through his knee in the kneeling position, which is a great sign, and we also see that he's able to flex his left knee in the kneeling position, which he had been previously avoiding. In the same video, he actually stands up to strike a little bit and does a really good job of shifting his weight and pivoting, putting much more weight through that leg than previously. Really good stuff here. But hands down, my biggest surprise is on June 7th, just 5 days later, when he posts the footage of him teaching the fireman's carry. He's clearly able to put his weight fully through his knee in the kneeling position while performing a takedown. But the most impressive and telling part of this video is right here, when he pushes back and he's almost able to get his ass to heel in that kneeling position. This is huge in the combat sports, especially in grappling. And finally, as if he couldn't surprise me anymore, the next day he posts footage of him grappling with a training partner. He's able to get that knee to rotate enough into a good body lock position. And although the MCL isn't tensioned very much in this position, given the amount of intracapsular swelling that he had early on, I think this is pretty impressive. And he's even able to roll him over into a grapevine, which requires a fair amount of positional tolerance at the knee. In short, Mokaev is one impressive dude with a shitload of dog in him that no one can deny. But I do still have a couple of reservations. It still remains to be seen how well he'll be able to tolerate loaded or stability movements in the rotational and the sagittal planes. This would obviously be crucial to be able to return back to fighting given the demand of MMA. Lastly, I would love to be able to see him throw some kicks with that left leg, and more importantly, take kicks to that left leg. You know that whoever he fights next is going to be slinging leg kicks his way, and he has to be prepared for them. I would still be a little concerned with him taking a fight in July or August like he's hinted at in the past. I mean, he's overcome my doubts once, and I'm sure he can do it again, but it would be hard for me to imagine that in that short amount of time he'd be able to develop the stability required in that leg to take multiple leg kicks. But we'll see. I've certainly become a hardcore Mokaev fan, and I can't wait to see where he goes. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.